Hello students, welcome to Read Med Prep Academy channel. Today we are going to discuss about asexual reproduction in plants part 1. In this we are going to talk about introduction to reproduction and asexual reproduction in lower plants like spore formation, budding, fragmentation, Gemma formation and binary fission. One of the essential features of all living things on the earth is reproduction. What is reproduction? Reproduction is a vital process for the existence of a species, and it also brings suitable changes through variation in the offsprings for their survival on the earth. Plant reproduction is important not only for its own survival but also for the continuation and existence of all organisms, since all organisms directly or indirectly depend on plants. Reproduction also plays an important role in evolution. There are two types of reproduction in plants. One is asexual reproduction, the other one is sexual reproduction. Now let us see the differences between the asexual reproduction and the sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction involves one parent only, whereas sexual reproduction involves two organisms or two plants. Gametes are not produced in asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, gametes are produced by the organisms. In asexual reproduction, offspring are genetically identical to the parent. In sexual reproduction, offspring show genetic variation. In asexual reproduction, the cell division are only mitotic. In sexual reproduction, gametes are produced by meiotic divisions and zygote develops by mitotic division. In asexual reproduction, large number of plants are produced in a very short time, whereas in sexual reproduction, comparatively, the number produced is less. Now, something about Professor Panchanan Maheshwari from 1904 to 1966 was an eminent botanist who specialized in plant embryology, morphology and anatomy. In 1934, he became the Fellow of the Indian Academy of Science. He published the book titled An Introduction to the Embryology of Angiosperms in 1950. He established the International Society for Plant Morphologists in 1951. He detailed in his book on the reproduction about plants. Now let us move on to the asexual reproduction in the lower plants. The reproduction method which helps to perpetuate its own species without the involvement of the gametes is referred to as asexual reproduction. Lower plants, fungi and animals show different methods of asexual reproduction. Some of the methods of asexual reproduction: formation of conidia, example is Aspergillus and Penicillium; budding in Eastern Hydra; fragmentation as in Spirogyra; production of Gemma as in Marchantia; and regeneration as in Planaria; binary fission in bacteria. Now let us discuss one by one. Conidia or conidiospores are asexual non-motile spores formed from the apex of the side of conidiogenous cells. Conidia are formed through repeated asymmetric mitosis of conidiogenous cells. They are thick-walled and they resist unfavorable conditions. Under favorable conditions of the temperature, pH and the soil, they grow and develop into a new plant. Here you can see the conidiospores of Penicillium notatum. Erect hyphae are formed which develops into branches. On the surface of the branches, medullae are formed. On the surface of the medullae, large number of phyalides are formed. From the phyalides, large number of conidiospores are released. Here you can see the life cycle of Aspergillus where the asexual reproduction occurs. First, there is development of food cell or vegetative cell. Second, there is development of conidiophore. Third is the conidiophore enlarges at the apex of the hyphae, and the conidiophore matures itself to form a vesicle, and there is development of sterigmata, and the sterigmata, which is primary, later develops into a secondary sterigmata, and from the sterigmata lot of conidial spores are formed. These spores are released detached from the secondary sterigmata. Under favorable conditions, the spores germinate to form the new organism. Here you can see the structure of the conidiophore. The conidiophore shows a vesicle. On the vesicle is the primary sterigmata called the phyalide, and on the primary sterigmata or the secondary sterigmata, on the secondary sterigmata are the chain of conidia, and the conidiospores are released into the atmosphere. Now, what is budding? A new individual develops from some generative anatomical point of the parent organism. There is an initial protuberance of the proliferating cytoplasm or cells, which is called a small bud, and this bud slowly expands and gets separated from the parent plant and develops into a new plant. Here you can see the budding in the east, where the small protrusion of the cytoplasm occurs. In the protrusion of the cytoplasm, the nucleus divides and separates into the protrusion, and the cytoplasm also divides. In such, multiple buds are formed, and these buds are released, forming the daughter yeast cells. Now, what is fragmentation? This is also known as splitting. It is a form of asexual reproduction in which a plant or an organism splits into fragments. Each fragment develops into a mature organism or plant, genetically and morphologically identical to its parent. Here you can see in fragmentation about the Spirogyra, where the Spirogyra has spiral chloroplast, and there is separation or formation of the septa in the body of the Spirogyra, and separation of the septum results in the formation of a daughter fragments, which develops into a new plant. Gemma formation. The Gemma cup is a specialized organ that produces clonal progenies. Gemma is seen in the liverwort, Marchantia polymorpha. Here you can see the thallus of the Marchantia, and this Marchantia in certain portions develops Gemma cup, and these Gemma cups separate from the body and develops and grows into new thallus. Now, what is regeneration? This is a type of asexual reproduction in which the organism is capable of regrowing certain body parts. Regeneration occurs only via mitosis. Here you can see the Planaria, in which the Planaria can be injured and broken into many pieces. Each piece can develop into a new organism. Here you can see the head being developed into a new organism, the tail developing into a new organism, the central part of the body again forming the tail and the head and forming a new organism. Now, in plants like green algae, the regeneration occurs by the formation of the protoplasm. In liverworts, when they are cut, the meristem formation occurs by regeneration. In mosses, when a portion of it is cut, there is formation of a proteinema, and these proteinema develops into new plants. Now, what is binary fission? It's a type of asexual reproduction where a parent cell divides, resulting in two identical cells, each having the potential to grow to the size of the original cell. It is commonly seen in prokaryotes like archaea, eubacteria, cyanobacteria, and certain protozoans like amoeba. Here you can see the binary fission in the bacteria, where there is separation of the nuclear material into two. After the separation and the elongation of the cell, there is division of the cytoplasm, causing cytokinesis, and there is formation of two daughter cells resembling each other like the parent. The individuals formed by method of reproduction is morphologically and genetically identical, and they are called clones. So today in asexual reproduction in plants, part 1, we discussed about the introduction to reproduction, asexual reproduction in plants like the spore formation, budding, fragmentation, Gemma formation, and binary fission. Thank you. Kindly subscribe, like, share and comment our channel Read Med Prep Academy. Log on to www.readmedprepacademy.com. Our Facebook ID is Read Med Prep Academy. Our email is readmedprepacademy@gmail.com. Kindly post your questions in the comment box. We will reply with appropriate answers. Thank you very much.